Although The Unknown Citizen and Poetry Makes Nothing Happen stem from the shared idea of significance of small events, they both suggest that in the end the subtle shifts created by poems and normalcy ripple into a broader impact on lives. For example, in Poetry Makes Nothing Happen, the poet's usage of specific instances where a poem was able to improve someone's life, such as when, instead of overdosing and dying, the woman chose a book by Yeats and fell asleep instead, and when poetry made bad news more bearable because it comforted people. It furthers the poet's message that poetry is important since it is different to different people, and it allows readers to think that poetry does make things happen by changing people's mind. And it also suggests that sometimes poetry making nothing happen is a good thing, because in our world of chaos and pandemonium, it's better to have good things. It's better to have the status quo maintained. Okay.
So a poetic device used is repetition, and the poem repeats the phrase, "Poetry makes nothing happen," and that drives the message into the reader about how it reinforces the message of the poem about how reading poetry doesn't have a lot of big implications in life, but sometimes it's the little things that matter the most. And also the repetition keeps the reader thinking about the question of, does poetry make nothing happen? And that drives the meaning as well.
Another device that this poem utilizes quite nicely is detail. The use of ellipses portrayed in The Unknown Citizen, or not The Unknown Citizen, I'm so sorry, in Poetry Makes Nothing Happen, allows the author to almost sarcastically repeat what individuals say about poems, only this time making it less credible. It makes the reader think about how this statement could be outrageous with the evidence included in the poem. The ellipses is a shift in the poem that the author chooses to include in order to slow down the poem before he or she poses the outrageous statement of, "Still, poetry makes nothing happen." Also, further along in the poem, when the ellipses is again included, it can be seen that there is a different approach to the sentence after. Including this ellipses towards the end goes in a different light of rebuking the statement before, saying that the sunset, what people would normally think about the sunset of, oh, like poetry doesn't affect anything. Well, including the ellipses allows the author to say that, well, now this time perhaps the sunset view on one cloudy afternoon could have made a person's entire perspective shift. And I think that including this detail allows the perspective shift to be very prominent in this poem. In contrast, The Unknown Citizen is too niche and difficult to connect with due to its complex language structure. As a result, it is less relevant than Poetry Makes Nothing Happen.